Good to see everybody today.
Good
Considering
morning.
that we've got a bit of dampness coming down, if it's raining at your place, that's a good thing. If it's not raining, that's a good thing. If you're driving, be careful. And if you're not driving, stay at home, keep warm in front of the fire. Wet your way, Pete?
Very wet our way, but not cold.
Not
It's like
cold?
18 degrees, so very pleasant.
Yeah.
But the rain was torrential overnight, and it's still coming down very steadily.
Frank, you're the same? Bit of rain?
Yeah, very similar conditions. Mind you, you're just over the hill, Pete, that way. So,
Yeah, yep. You sure
And
it's not that way?
oh, yeah, it will be that way.
you avoided getting your tyres slashed, Pete?
Yeah, I
Ah,
did. And I see they put in the paper last night that it was, they believe, two young females.
mm.
They've got them on security camera, so don't know what the hell that was all about.
Well, it's just like the cost. I think it was one of the tyre companies said 2.5 grand to reshod the car with new
Yeah.
Bloody
tyres.
hell.
One guy had purchased four brand new tires last week,
Oh,
and
Mm.
he asked the guy, he said, "Can I make an insurance claim?" And sorry, can I make a claim against the tires? And the guy said, "No, you have to make an insurance claim."
yeah,
So
yeah,
you've got to be hoping some of these people all had insurance.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's life as it is in New Zealand today.
Yeah.
So we'll kick off, and just before coming on air, we were discussing the today interesting day for those who served in Vietnam, the official end of the Vietnam War, 30th of April. 1975. Three 3,600 and something, maybe 85, I think, New Zealand troops served in Vietnam. Loss of 37 lives plus two civilian Red Cross workers. So, yeah, not good, but good to see that we didn't lose too many. And so, gentlemen and ladies, the nursing corps, thank you for your service.
Very clear day in my memory.
Yeah, why is that?
And it was a Friday afternoon, and in Dieppe, we were called back to work. And the transport company, all the buses, the white buses,
Yep.
all got sent out to the airports because there was just planes flying in from Vietnam loaded with kids. Absolutely chocker, sitting on the
Wow.
floor everywhere, yeah.
Mm.
And there was a Lockheed plant in Singapore, which where they used to rebuild Hercules
Yeah.
out by the old airport, and there was a whole lot of Hercules just landed there, and they just parked them there and left them. But there's just got hundreds of kids off these planes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, very vivid memory for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
Right.
where I was. Somewhere in the Navy.
Somewhere in the deep blue sea.
No, I wasn't at sea, I know that.
Walking between the masts on the Irarangi.
I think I was an instructor at the communication school then.
Ah. The other thing of interest today, which kind of affects us as a group, interesting post by Gilmore Wall, the 50th anniversary information posted about the RCB. No, what is it? Butterworth RCB, Rifle
Yeah,
Company
RCB,
Butterworth.
Rifle Company Butterworth, yeah.
Rifle Company Butterworth.
Yeah.
And an interesting a few lines from the one of the Malaysian Armed Forces generals acknowledging the contribution of the people at RCB, along with the fact that he acknowledges the resurgence of the communist insurgency between 1970 and 1989. So all the people who've said, oh, there was no threat, or it was very low, it was out there right until 1989 and the withdrawal, coincidentally, of the battalion from Singapore. But there you go. That's just a little bit of news and views. So, meeting last night of the executive, interesting times, good discussion. To those who contributed to the poll about the Veterans Recognition Bill, what do you think, Pete? Was it worthwhile?
Absolutely. It was some quite robust debate, I should say, and that's always good because that's how you come to a decision. And for me, what highlighted it was the fact that I was always of the mind that once you've done your 3 years and you got your NZ that qualifies you. But listening to all the talk last night, and it reminded me that once you've done your 12 weeks basic training as a soldier, sailor, or airman, you could be given a weapon and put in a ship, a foxhole, or an aeroplane, and say, "This is your bit to defend."
Yeah.
So, quite a change. Nothing about core training, trade training, anything like that. Tra the whole thing we were always taught as EME was soldier first, tradesman second. And I remembered that this morning for some reason. So yeah, I like the idea. 12 weeks.
12 weeks. Same with you, Frank?
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking along on the same lines as you, Pete, until it was brought up for discussion, and I'm totally in agreement. Once you've done that 3 months,
Yep.
you're then thrown into your ship or trench or aeroplane. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing about that, it's consistent across all of the three branches,
Yep.
Yes.
the Air Force, the Navy, and the Army. 12 weeks, and that's your lot. And I would suspect it may have been a lot shorter during World War One, World War Two, that sort of thing.
Mm.
Marched into a camp, given a uniform, given a rifle, marched around the camp, marched out the door and off to some overseas slot. So the level of training really quite low. So that's a recommendation that we will make on your behalf to RNZ RSA today. And along with that, the date, which was important, we settled on the 20th of September, particularly because it recognises a tri-service deployment to Timor, wasn't it? Was it Timor?
East Timor, yeah.
East
Dili,
Timor.
yeah.
That's right, to Dili. So that recognises that, and again, it's across the services. Everybody is the same, but it's also, as the minister points out in his report, the coming of age, if you like, of the recognition of the contemporary veterans, or whatever use that term is. So it's a starting point of a new era amongst NZ Defence personnel. So that's a good thing. The actual day then of the week became a moot argument because it'll just rotate every year. If it's accepted as the 20th of September, it'll change on a yearly basis as to what day of the week it is. And there was one other recommendation. Oh, the name. So it ended up being Veterans Day. That was our recommendation from the information that had been provided through our own discussions and the
I
discussion.
thought it was Armed Forces Day.
Oh, am I wrong? Okay.
Don't know. I've written down veterans.
Because we didn't want to exclude anybody, whereas Armed Forces Day we thought included everybody.
You got
Yeah.
me thinking now because I wrote down Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'd better check that.
We'll check that and come back to you.
Yeah.
Good question, Rita. Thank you very much.
I hope I was paying attention.
There you go. So we can get it wrong. But that is something that was part of the discussion. And I guess the argument was based around the fact of consistency. So when in relation to Anzac Day and the changes there, that's all about the veteran community and those who've served operationally. That's the current situation. And the Veterans Recognition Day is to recognise everybody who has served not just those who've got operational service. And so I think that was the reasoning behind Armed Forces Day, because it's actually inclusive and it lines up with the Veterans Recognition Bill for being for everybody, not just operational service. So watch the space. The submissions will be made.
Yeah.
And whether
And one
anybody...
other thing,
Sorry?
don't forget we were talking about the representation for peace schemes, Southeast Asia.
Yep.
That wasn't brought up.
Right. Oh. Well, why didn't you bring it up, Frank?
Oh, I know. I wasn't asleep.
Come on.
So that will go forward, and whether it turns out that way or what the final decision is, be out of our control. But at least we've made a submission, and we will prepare a separate submission for the recommendation for Anzac Day, the amendment bill for that. That also becomes more inclusive, so that both Anzac Day and Veterans Recognition Day actually line up, that everybody's included who has served or is currently serving. So that's something to look forward to. We'll see what comes back from the melting pot of government and politics. For those of you who contributed, good on you. Thank you very much. Shows that some of you do pay attention, and that's good. And some interesting results. Give me a couple of seconds here. I'll just look at something on my screen and I can tell you some rough ideas of how things panned out. Let's have a look. I'll start at the end and go to the beginning or something like that. So the date, as I've said, it's been set at 20 of September. Well, that was the feeling of the executive committee. 7% of people voted for that on the poll. The majority were in favour of 2 months either side of Anzac Day, or 21% in favour of commemoration of a battle. So that was a bit interesting. Day of the week, well, that becomes a moot point if we go to the 20th of September, because, as I've said, it'll change day by day, year by year. What else did we have? What was this? No. Yeah, so that's about it. Those were the interesting things. Oh, the criteria. So, yes, as we've said, it came down to the end of basic training. So 6% voted for that. 52% supported the award of the NZDSM, so after 3 years service, and 35% the day of attestation. So a little bit of movement there. But one of the interesting things that came out of that was, either way you go, whether it was basic training and core training, or the DSM, what happens about those people who maybe served for 2 years, 363 days or 64 days and didn't quite get to the DSM, and left either through medical reasons or found they didn't fit? So how would you recognise that service? Basic training then becomes the almost the lowest common denominator, and that's the way it goes. Okay. Any other discussion, team?
There was a good point from Bob too about that guy that served in Afghanistan and didn't get a DSM because he didn't do 3 years. He was short, but he still did an operational tour to Afghanistan. So in the army, did his tour out of the army.
Yep, and still recognised as a veteran because he's got the NZOSM.
Yeah,
and available for compensation for injury or illness suffered while on service, which creates one of the many iniquities in the current system. And hiding behind all of this, I think, is it's being pointed out by Ron Mark, who in his tenure raised the issue with the then finance man, Mr. Robertson, that he was after $144 million so that everybody could be classified as a veteran, and Veterans Affairs paid for those across the whole range of service, not just the people with operational service. So there you go. He obviously tried, but got turned down on the dollars and cents. And I understand that there is the advocacy group of the RNZ RSA are looking into issues around how they make up that figure, because people will be getting some ACC support and some will be getting something from Veterans Affairs, or they may be getting some support from other agencies. So the money's already being spent by the government. It's just not being spent under the realm of the Veterans Affairs. And just on that issue, so fresh in today, we've become aware of a person who's been pursuing claims with ACC for like 50 years, and they've ticked a box. So that's a good thing, and it tells us that we should be getting right in there and continuing to argue with them. Don't accept no for an answer first time around. Keep hammering away. What do you think on that, Frank? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And just another bit of information. Don't throw away anything you were given in the 60s or 70s through injuries or accidents, because defence, for some unknown reason, don't keep records of everything. I know I'm in the situation where I'm trying to prove a fact that smoking was very heavily carried out in the Navy and mess decks. Now, it's dependent on me to prove that sailors smoked in the enclosed mess decks. So I'm hunting around looking for bits of paper, photographs, and lucky I found some good photographs of the blue colour in the mess deck.
Yeah.
But don't throw anything away, because eventually you'll need it.
All right. Okay.
Can I just add something to that?
Yeah, go, Pete. Yeah.
Always remember, you can go back to Defence and get your medical records of what they've got, because they'll photocopy them for you, and sometimes there's a little bit of gold in there.
Right. Okay. Good point. Good point. Well raised. So there you go. So as I've said many times before, when you apply to Veterans Affairs or ACC and they say no, they've just opened the conversation. It's not the end of it. Good point from Frank. Keep all the paperwork. I certainly haven't done it, so I've gone the way of time.
I wish I'd get more. Yeah.
I have called for my records, and unfortunately, nothing of substance. And on that point, there was an interesting report from the on the archives, the state of archives of government departments earlier in the week, and not many got a good tick. A lot got the "Come on, Monday, you can do better." And I suspect.
Did you happen to watch the last sitting of the Waitangi Tribunal, where I forget the woman's name, I think she was a professor or something, went to the archives in Wigram, and they opened up a hangar, and it was full of cardboard boxes.
Yes.
No writing on them. There was just thousands and thousands of boxes, and that was all the archives were in there.
That's right.
She's it was just diabolical.
She's a psychologist, and she was looking at the state of psychological support in NZ Defence.
That's it. Yes.
I read her interesting report. Goodwood or something like that is her name.
Yeah. And it's just mind-boggling that everybody probably thought, we'll just put them in these cardboard boxes, but totally irrelevant if you've got to search for something.
Yeah. So that's
about your medical records, Peter. I got mine not long ago. Yeah. And I had an incident where I fell down a ladder on a ship, severely injured my knee, and had to be treated for it. And there's not a single word in my medical records of it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, how's this for craziness? My grandfather, on my father's side, served in World War One and was demobbed and sent home with a knee injury. And I've got the record from World War One. So somebody kept records back then.
I think they were better at those days.
But anyway, there you go. That's a little bit of news and views for today. Bit more solemn. Last post, Frank, or crossing the bar.
Yes, I have one of our fellow sailors has crossed the bar. Foxtrot 19194 Williams, Peter Reginald Wayne, known as Bungie, as all Williams were. Joined the Royal New Zealand Navy in 1968. Bungie crossed the bar on the 21st of April 2025, and a service has already been held, followed by a private cremation. Please accept our condolences to the family of Bungie.
Thank you, Frank. Tango 625502, Robert Anthony Tony Cowan, Captain, BEM, passed away on the 26th of April 2025, aged 85. Tony served in the New Zealand Army Band from 63 to 74. Had 2 tours with 1 RNZIR, the first in 64 to 65 with the originals, 1 RNZIR, and the second in 1968-69. He served as the drum major in his second tour on a visit to Vietnam from 27th of October to 2nd of November 69. 345006, Robert C. Robbie Dawson, New Zealand Regiment, passed away on the 20th of April 25, aged 87. Robert served in Bravo Company, 2 NZ Regiment from November 59 to November 61 in Malaya. 41561, Raymond C. Ray Goodwin, passed away on the 25th of April 2025, aged 80. Ray served in 1 RNZIR, 65-67, doing the 66 tour to Borneo. He then served in Victor 1 Company in Vietnam from May to November 67. Returned to New Zealand and returned back to Whiskey 2 Company in Vietnam from November 68 to November 69. Posted in that effort to support Company RNZ, RAR, NZ Anzac Battalion. Pete, would you like to do the ode?
I will.
Thank you.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them, lest we forget.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Peter. So that's us for today, folks. Thank you all who have watched in today, and thank you all for your service. And we'll be here, same time, same back channel, next week to see what else has occurred in the next 7 days. So take care, especially with the weather that's coming. Drive safely, get home safely, and don't forget to pick up the phone. Ring those. I got a phone call yesterday from someone I've known for a few years, back to 1970. Just a chat and a catch up, all very good. So it helps to boost the morale from time to time. But
Mr. Hunter?
Sorry,
Mr.
Peter?
Hunter?
No. Thank you all for watching, and as I say, we'll catch you next week. Cheers.
Bye.